Hey, Baldy, listen to me, Kojak. You're 35 minutes late. Did you have to stay and repent for the beer you drank on the last episode?
Well, the
Hey, everybody, welcome back to Gettin 10A, the First Responders Podcast. And, you put three of us together with bad attitudes and we don't have to answer to HR anymore. There's no telling where this is going to go. We might call this fully inappropriate. So, with me tonight, I've got Mike Pontius up there. Mike is from EMS so long ago. His original cardiac monitor ran on diesel. And, of course, we've got Cody rejoining us. And Cody is a firefighter, a volunteer fire department. So he is a volunteer hero, which is the title on the thumbnail that y'all came in here to, volunteer hero. So we didn't get a chance. The last time we were here, we talked about Mike and his medical thing. We talked about a great cooking event that's coming out that you're going to. I'm reiterating that you're going to the cooking event.
That's right.
But we didn't really get your whole story. So let's hear some of the stuff that in your years of volunteer fire department, you told about the dead rat. That was pretty damn funny. Somebody thinking they had a gas leak.
Yeah.
What are some of the other crazy calls that you dealt with, Cody?
Oh my gosh. Nowadays it's every little thing because every department's trying to get their call volume up, to get the funding. And I mean, we get every, what was that, 3 o'clock the other morning, a female with, her, how did it say? Her teeth were hurting at
All
3 o'clock in the morning.
She wants to go to a dentist at 3 a.m.
Yeah. So I mean, that's one of the weird. I mean, stomach pains, spider bites. I mean, it's just.
Hey, spider bites are real. Don't joke on that.
Oh. I mean, oh Lord, headaches. I mean, it's just all the little minor things. It's so hard to believe the things that people call the ambulance for. And then sometimes you go on some of those calls, you get there, and you realize that these people, they don't have a way to travel. And that's a lot of what it is. They don't have caregivers, and they don't have a vehicle. So I mean, we've had calls before. People, ask you to help change their bed linens, or get there and, hey, while you're here, can you do this and this? And it's crazy.
While you're here, can you move that fridge from the porch into the kitchen?
You had to walk through that tall grass. Can you weed eat the grass while you're here?
Right there.
But it's crazy.
We need to play a game. Every podcast episode that we do, we need to have a "What's Mike eating tonight?" What is that?
Sweet potato.
All right. Sweet potato.
Damn good.
Did you put your little cinnamon on there?
No, I put Irish butter.
Yep.
Ooh, the good stuff.
Yes, sir. Kosher sea salt.
Oh.
Yeah.
And
a little bit of brown sugar.
There you go.
But the salt and the butter, oh my God.
I usually do some salt and butter, and I throw a little cinnamon on there.
Yeah.
And cinnamon, but I guess the brown sugar caramel and the cinnamon probably same profile.
Right.
What's Mike eating tonight?
that we need to make a shirt. Getting 10-8 podcast, First Responders podcast. What's Mike eating?
What's Mike eating?
What's for supper?
You know, you say that, Robbie, but the honest truth is, I think I've eaten on every podcast we've done.
I do believe you have.
Really, it may not have been at the start, but sometime during our 4-hour session.
4 hours.
It hadn't been 4 hours. The longest I've ever held him here was about 2. And that's just because the conversation got good.
Oh, yeah. Who the hell? Hey, Baldy, listen to me, Kojak. You're 35 minutes late. Did you have to stay and repent for the beer you drank on the last episode?
Well, the song leader we have, he loves singing songs, and so he's got a lot of songs laid out. And then the preacher, he's not cutting his message short, which I'm glad he's not. He's a very good preacher. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Tomorrow night is the last night. Kind of upset about that because I love listening to him.
Y'all do fire?
Then, sir?
Why is tomorrow night his last night?
Oh, we're revival this week.
Oh yeah, Big Ten.
Yep.
Oh, heck, I went to one of them one time.
So we then my preacher he actually likes to bake and make cakes and desserts, and he let me know before church that there was a little strawberry cake that he makes in the refrigerator. So I had to go sneak me a piece of that. And
a piece.
Yeah. A little piece. We ended up taking half of it because my mom was in there and my daughter wanted some. And then on the way home, there was a box turtle in the middle of the road, and my wife wanted to save the box turtle. So we removed the box turtle from the road and got home.
I like that. Well, what, you got a straight jacket on right now?
No, it's like my Camp Shelby recycle jacket.
I think you're in a damn straight jacket right now. That didn't look like it, Robbie. He ain't got the bucket.
Yeah, but it's. I see the recycle logo he's got. He's wearing his recycle T-shirt. So
represent.
Now look, Mike.
What?
How long have I been asking you for a picture?
A long time.
Mike's been asking me to hang a mirror in the bathroom.
I've been asking you for a picture in uniform for about 6 weeks now.
Yeah.
And the episode, not the last episode, but the episode before. Yeah, maybe it was before that.
I gotta go.
The episode before that, it was about firehouse pranks. Bud McMahon talked about firehouse pranks. I talked about the ambulance station pranks, and you were pranked in that episode, and you don't even know it. And I've been hinting to you for the last 2 episodes. And you
telemarketing bill collector is what you are.
Well, look, let me tell you something. I know that you haven't watched those episodes because you would obviously find, but you've got a life and you're busy, and I know you were chock-a-block busy.
Busy man.
He is. He's super busy dude. But for the last 2 episodes, and maybe this episode, if you don't get me one pretty quick, you've been represented by a horse's ass.
I'll fully accept that as my profile picture going.
It says, with Mike Pontius, and it's a horse's ass with wind blowing that tail.
I don't think there's a more appropriate profile pic that I can give you. Don't be fucking farting with his tail. Here's Mike.
The only thing that would have been better is if he took a shit when that was going.
Talking out his ass. Talking out his ass. The wind's blowing the tail, and he's talking. Look. Smell it. That's the only difference.
So yeah, that's been, you've been, if you'll go back and I know you don't care about that. You got that skin thicker than mine.
Yeah, that's what everybody's saying that's watching the podcast is that other guy, he's got some thick skin.
You want to piss me off?
Later.
You'll never know it, but you'll feel it. You'll feel it. It'll come back to you eventually. I don't mind. I can't tell you, man. This has been fun. I wouldn't trade this for the world. I told Rester that, Rob, when I was talking the other day. I said, whether it's a story worth telling or not, it's recorded for posterity. It's historically archived.
This Grayson's going to be able to look at this and hear his dad tell paramedic stories when he was a medic. Absolutely.
I think I got him talked into coming on this show.
Oh,
there we go.
Paramedic. There you go.
Firefighter, brand new, 3-year firefighter, 1-year paramedic. I think I got it. I think he's going to do it.
Oh, we need to have him on.
Oh yeah. So he's been through the demise of AMR and the rise of Pafford.
Okay.
So he might be a pretty good compass needle to tell us where we are right now on the coast.
Yeah.
But I think I talked to him the other night at the barbecue. Me and him and John Rester, my boss. Real quick deviation side story, but I don't know if I told this or not, but Pafford bought the AMR building in Gulfport. I built that building. Literally, I was the purchasing legit. I was in charge of building that building. I said, Mike, I need this building. Okay. 1994. I was in and out of offices multiple times there. So my son goes there to take, he went there after Pafford. He started at Pafford, not when he was doing clinical. So he did clinicals with mobile medic, and then Pafford came in. I mean, he was literally doing clinicals with mobile medic, or AMR till the day they changed over to Pafford, and then he goes to work for Pafford. Right. And he goes to the same building. So he sends me a picture one day of my tape dispenser, and our previous boss used to tell us to mark your stuff with a paint marker. Everybody had to have a paint marker in operations. He sends me a picture of my damn black with tape dispenser with Pontius written on it.
So let me ask you this: who is Pafford Ambulance Service? Because I'm not familiar with them.
Yeah, the hell you aren't. They you remember Shane? Well, no, you may not remember all this, Robbie. You were gone. So Pafford started in Ruston, Louisiana. And Greg and Jamie Pafford, their daddy actually started it. They got another James. I don't know if John is. So Greg Pafford and Jamie Pafford. Greg is the CEO and she is the COO. I don't know what the structure is. They Chris Cirillo, Chris Vickery left and went work for them. They've been at one time they were a very local, popular ambulance, kind of like Mobile Medic was down here on the coast, and Filet was when they started just in Hattiesburg, and they couldn't figure out who their enemy was, us, AMR or Acadian. They couldn't figure out who was coming to take their territory from them. So they bowed up and buckled down, and dude, they just kept gnawing away, little pieces at a time, and then they went to the Delta up in Coahoma County, Clarksdale. They were always nipping at AMR's heels or whoever, and trying to take somebody over. And somewhere along with Shane Davidson, who ran our AMRs, had our shit, got to quit, and been there in 10 years. AMR's operations in Monroe. Okay. Somewhere along the way, Shane left AMR and went to open up nursing homes, sold the nursing homes, and then next thing you know, Pafford hires him, and they've just been marching slowly but surely. But man, they growing like a gosh dang Kogon grass right now.
I heard Pafford was coming up this way.
Dude, they everywhere. They on the coast. They in Rapides Parish, the heart of Acadian country right now.
Yeah.
Tallulah, Washita.
The only problem with that, and this is what I thought was going to happen to Acadian when Acadian got Jackson County. This is what I thought was going to happen was, yeah, you're an island. You aren't anywhere where you have the support behind you, which is how Acadian grew. It started in Lafayette and it grew out.
outward.
Exactly. But then they got to St. Tammany over there, Slidell, and stopped and skipped all the way to Jackson County. Now, here's the difference.
They didn't stop. They couldn't get Hancock County. They tried and tried and tried and tried.
Right.
And tried.
Well, but then you end up with, here's the issue. If you are in an ambulance service that has this big growing outward, but you're connected. So when these on the fringe end up getting in calls, you've got people that come over and backfill and cover that area. They aren't able to do that in Jackson County because the people that are in Slidell can't come cover for Pascagoula and Ocean Springs.
Yep.
One, because there's too big of a gap, but two, because those folks in Slidell are Louisiana registered and not Mississippi registered.
Nah, look, you complicated. Reciprocity was done. So let me tell you what happened. No, I'm gonna be honest with you. So I was at AMR at the time, and Acadians growing, man. They were so. Let me back up. In 1994, we would send our leadership team to Lafayette and go look at dispatch and patient records and training. And they would send their leadership team to Gulfport and show us how we show them how to do driving, and we'd show them contracts. So we were sister companies. So sister companies, John Rester started Mobile Medic, Richard Juicelog started Acadian.
Yep.
They became buddies. Very successful, very successful. They were both very successful. 92, AMR, 93, AMR comes along. They buy Mobile Medic. Mobile Medic in Gulfport was the first. 4 companies formed AMR. 2 West Coast teams, a St. Louis team, and something up in the Northeast.
Right.
4 companies formed AMR. The first company that AMR bought was Mobile Medic. That's
Gotcha.
by Acadian. Acadian said, fuck you. You ain't doing it. That ain't happening. So the relationship didn't really go sideways, but it was Rester trying to tell you. I don't want to take John's thunder because he's going to be on here very shortly.
Right.
But somewhere during that transition, AMR became a competitor of Acadian.
Right.
AMR grew. So Acadian kept knocking on Hancock County's door because they had Slidell and they had Emergency 1 over there, and their next contiguous lock-on would have been Hancock County.
Right.
He's back, Robbie.
Yeah. Chuck's wheel with her. Chuck Wheels with her.
So anyway, it came up that somehow Slidell got nasty. AMR was buying Medic 1 or whatever it was in downtown New Orleans. Somehow AMR and Acadian did a swap. I don't remember all the details of it. John will probably remember all of it. So we kind of stopped there. We got Slidell, they got New Orleans. We basically swapped contracts because New Orleans is contiguous all the way on around the river through Home and Lafayette.
Right.
Slidell is contiguous to Hancock County. Well, it was a pain in the ass to service. We ended up having to set our own operation up over there, turned into a nightmare. Next thing you know, divorce is final. Acadian comes to Jackson County. Took it from AMR. It was a standard MO, and just what you said, they're on an island. We're like, hey, we ain't got to sign a mutual aid agreement with you. You're on your own. Figure out how to cover your own shit. And if we don't want it, there ain't no money over it. Jackson County really didn't have money. And it's sad when it turned into, one time we were proud to serve the citizens of the Gulf Coast.
Right.
We ain't proud to serve Jackson County. We wanted Ocean Springs, AMR did, but didn't want the rest of Jackson County.
Didn't want didn't want Moss Point, Gaucher,
Gaucher didn't want the county,
Pascagoula.
Ocean Springs. Rich some bitches with insurance, period. And boy, that was my first dive into politics right there and understanding what backroom meant. The handshakes, the dinners. So somewhere along the way, Madison County, Rankin County, Hines County, nobody was going to take over North Mississippi. That was North Mississippi Ambulance Service. Nobody was going to take over Hattiesburg, although they got real close. Wade was, he was right there because he and Delahousie were buds. Real close to a lock on of Acadian, basically locking on to the air ambulance district, turning that into an ambulance district instead of an air ambulance district. And I was involved with it pretty heavily, but there was a very small window that AMR could have technically gone from the coast to Simpson County.
All the way up.
Real quick. And something happened. Hines County's always been a stepchild, or they think they've been treated like a stepchild. They're not. But it's sad where politics
comes into care.
Yes, a city fire service, they blame it on the chief if something don't go right. But if a mayor's cousin, this is a fact, a mayor's cousin kid was shot in Jackson, and it took AMR 43 minutes to get there, but what they failed to say is the cops wouldn't let AMR go in there for 30 minutes.
Wow.
Because it wasn't safe. It was shot.
Hold on 1 second. What is that background noise?
Oh, it's his dang old lady talking. Preacher's at the house.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it politics, man, there ain't, I hate it. I really do hate it. You know, you get infighting and stuff in fire departments and police departments. Politics in general, stay out of that. But private ambulance services serving the public through a public contract is just, dude, it's a hard road to hoe, and people's lives are at stake.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get somebody, I ain't gonna go into the whole thing, but sometimes you'll get someone who thinks he knows what's best for an area, who don't know the difference, and come here and sick them and tries to get one ambulance service in over another ambulance service. And the only person he's messing with is people's lives.
That's right.
And I can't stand it. So at the end of the day now we have, and John and I had this talk Saturday morning. He was here for a party. And I said, John, has your head quit spinning from what you've seen in the last 6 or 8 months? He said, no. In all his years, and since 1974, was that 41 years. Is that right?
Yep.
42 years almost. August 1st, 1974 is when he started a mobile medic. In all his years, he's never seen anything like this. And it's not just here, it's nationwide. I mean, it may be worldwide, but I know we hear about it nationwide because it's a different EMS model. It's a different fire model. Cody, it's you know, you got the rural metros, which is a part of the AMR family now. Private fire service. Who would have ever thought that you had to have a subscription to get a fire truck to come to your house and put a fire out?
Well, they did that in California
and Tennessee, Knoxville.
Yeah, they did that in California. I can tell you that for sure.
They're still doing it right now, but I'm talking Phoenix, Arizona, Knoxville, Tennessee. I can't remember all that. You literally had to pay a membership
for the fire department
in your city to come put your shit out.
Where you have tax dollars that pay for that.
Or you better have fire insurance so you can pay the insurance bill when they come do it.
That's crazy.
You didn't have a membership, you had to pay. That's what happened to public safety. And that's kind of the just to what I was getting at with the whole thing is somewhere along the way, you got to pay the bills. There's been some dark days in people's lives.
Yeah.
Opinion.
Well, I mean, are they still doing memberships
Oh,
for ambulance departments?
Well, that's a little bit different though. They can't refuse service. The membership just says they can't bill more than what your insurance pays. Whereas if you don't have a membership and you go, you're responsible. Say you got a $10,000, a $7,800 deductible today, whatever they are, they're high deductibles.
Yeah.
Comes and gets you, takes you to the hospital. If you're a member, you don't pay nothing. If you're not a member, you ain't using the ambulance all the time, then you got to pay $7,800 or whatever your deductible is to get to.
Wow.
After, well, not they can't refuse service, period. But you're gonna bill. They're gonna get a bill collector if you don't pay the bill.
Well, when I was working at Mobile Medic, they didn't have a membership.
No,
I didn't run into a membership issue on an ambulance service until I went to work at Acadian Ambulance. That was my first foray into, hey, when you got these folks in the ambulance, if they aren't a member, tell them about being a member. And I was like, dude, I'm here to help them. I'm not here to sell an insurance policy.
Yeah.
Well, there was a time that we actually got a cut for selling a membership. We got $10.
Wow.
But that was illegal.
Yeah, we didn't get that. We
You
had
did.
membership drive month that we were really pushing it, you know.
There was a stipend for you. It was just like the old road all safe driving bonus.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah,
never-
but it was fail safe. It was fail safe.
Yeah, when you wrecked, you didn't get anything.
Yes. Well, if you got so many 60s, if you got 30s, that, you know, you could have so many 30s, but if you got a 60% slam on the brakes, that messed up your numbers.
So, well, no, what you had to do is get a Jackson trip then to reduce your or increase your mile.
Get some mileage. Yeah.
Clicks. Rob, they had this freaking Cody, they had this metal box under the passenger seat, and it had a mercury switch that went front to back, and a mercury switch that went side to side. So if you accelerated too hard, it put the mercury switch in the back, closed the circuit, and gave a click. If you braked too hard, the mercury went to the front, closed the circuit, created a click. If you turned too hard, close the circuit, make a click. So you got lateral forces and G4 and stuff. And we got paid by how well we drove. And
they save so much money in maintenance on brakes, on tires, on all that stuff.
It is a fact. I had an F-250. I went 114,000 miles on a diesel truck without changing my brakes because of eggshell braking, soft acceleration, assume the light's going to turn red.
Yep.
Front space cushion, side space cushion, rear space cushion. But the biggest benefit as a paramedic,
patient.
Or imagine being in the back of the truck. Well, I didn't give two shits about the patient from the ride. That's just the roads. But if you slam on the brakes and I'm trying to start an IV,
yeah,
or I'm standing up doing CPR and you slam them on, then you got two patients. So it made a huge improvement in the medic's ability, or the fireman back there doing CPR, whoever's in the back with the patient, to provide patient care.
Dude, I got to tell you, one time I was going to mix a lidocaine drip after I'd given lidocaine on code, and I was going to that port on that IV, and I'm going to stick this needle in there.
Hold it with your hand, right?
Yeah, and he hit a bump, and I'm sitting there with a lidocaine. I've got a needle coming out of the back of my hand. I went between metacarpals. I didn't say a word. I just went up and stuck my hand through the cab so he could see that. And then I went to the back of the ambulance.
You did to me.
Went to the back of the ambulance, pulled that thing out, and went on about my business. And he knew he was getting an ass chewing when we got to the hospital, and by God, he did.
The best thing, and I'm not going to hog this again, like I'm trying not to, I promise you, but I could do this for days. But anyway, dopamine, you mix it by micrograms, and I'm talking
Yep.
little bitty drops of drugs to
Yep.
keep their blood pressure up, Cody. It's an IV mix. It's not something you push.
200 milligrams and 250 milliliters of D5W.
Milligrams of dopamine, and they fucked.
In 250 milliliters.
Like 2 cc's in 250. Little bitty bit. Yeah, a little bit. So anyway, the running joke was you titrate to effect.
Yeah.
Because you got to count like 1 drop
Per second.
3 drop, 4 drop. So if you had a bad driver or bad roads, you just set it and cracked it, and it's going to make that that drop fall out of there. So how'd you get to hash road drips? Just every time you hit a bump, it'd drop out and go into the patient, and it tend to work. So yeah, 200 micrograms, 200 micrograms.
In.
Can't remember that shit.
Yeah, it was 200 micrograms and 250 milliliters of D5W, I
It
believe.
was a microgram per kilogram or something. So it wasn't necessarily 200 micrograms.
Then you had to figure out how much that bastard weighed.
Yeah, like 0.5 micrograms per kilogram.
Yeah.
So a 100 kilogram person is going to get 5 micrograms or 50. I can't do. I don't need that shit.
I just said if she's a female, she's 75 kilograms. If she's a male, if it's a male, it's 100 kilograms.
I never killed nobody with it,
That's right.
That's good.
to my knowledge.
No, I think you're safe. You know, Mike starts all these stories off. You know, that his I think your first jump kit had duct tape, a flask, and regrets.
I was full-blown rescue, buddy. I had stars of life with a Sharpie marker put on each end. It was a red or orange and white Plano 747.
Oh yeah. I remember that was the 3 tray.
That was a 3 tray up top and everything in the bottom. And I'm gonna tell you something. I had I-25 on that bad boy. I had stars of life on each end. I had Pontiac spray paint stenciled on the back of it.
Yeah, because you didn't want anybody working out of your kit.
Back then.
We had kits.
Plus the stock on the ambulance. That was it.
Yeah.
At AmServe, all the paramedics, we had the big possum belly orange Plano.
I was a basic. I didn't have no paramedic kit.
All right, the paramedics took our kit. We had our kit home with us. That way, when we went back to work, we knew everything that was in that kit because we had it with us.
Oh, that ain't the reason we took it home. We took it home in case we came across a wreck. We was going to jump out and stethoscope around our neck and go save that damn life.
That's true for y'all that live down there. I was driving back and forth to Hattiesburg and carrying my kit home.
Some wrecks on 49, and we did anywhere else on your road trip back and forth home.
This is true. And then I was doing it when it was the old Highway 67, not that nice new 4-lane that takes you.
4-way stop, turn, go past the horses, and make sure you didn't come 49 too hot. You're gonna run across and get in.
That's right. And we'd come out right there in Socia, going
Right there
through all that area.
Post.
Yep. You know the route.
Man.
That's bringing back some memories.
Whew. Cody, I hope you enjoy listening to us talk.
I never knew this about the ambulance stuff, and then the man.
Well, let me tell you something about the ambulance stuff. So when you started, what year was it? 92?
No, it was 04.
04. So by 2004, privatized ambulances had come a long way. Contracts had come a long way. You probably had AAA in Laurel.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hattiesburg, yeah.
Hattiesburg. There was what was the one out there towards Laurel? Enterprise was
Gigger.
That's the dude.
And then it went to Lord, I moonlit when I was working offshore as a paramedic.
Was it
It was
Metro?
Geiger. No, it was
I can see it.
Sammy Powell owned it.
God damn, it was
ASAP.
ASAP.
ASAP. Yep. ASAP. That's what we had.
And then you got into Laurel and you had South Mississippi Regional.
Southeast. Right.
There, Southeast Regional Ambulance, there, SERVs or whatever it's called.
Yep.
Got up on into Meridian, you had Clayton and Metro.
Yep.
Richton had
They were a substation of AAA.
AAA. Y'all, that was y'all's furthest east station. And you got
Yep.
down in George County, Lucedale, which bounced between their own ambulance and AMR. And I think somebody out of Mobile ran in there. Newman's may have run that damn
Yep.
thing. And then you get into Stone County, they had their own. And then the coast
Hospital.
serving Acadian and Mobile Medic.
Yep.
Then you get over into the Southwest Mississippi, you had King's Daughter and whoever else it was, but pretty much it was pretty solid through here for a long time, up till Simpson County area.
Yeah.
Now, Cody, when you started, every ambulance that you ever saw pull up on the scene had a paramedic in it, didn't it?
Yeah.
At 2004, yeah, I guarantee you.
So when Mike and I started on the ambulances, we started as drivers, worked our way up to EMT ambulance, which is what they call a basic now.
Yeah.
Then we became intermediates, which is what they call advanced, and then we got the disco patch. Then we got this bad boy right there. So
That's right.
So, and back then, you know, when I was in Gulfport, there was one paramedic that was working mobile medic, and he was in a Sprint truck, and he was from the Biloxi line all the way to Bay St. Louis.
The Bees
And
Road to
up-
the next line.
And he was the paramedic, and he ran, and we were all basic trucks, and he would go whichever one of us needed him. That's where he'd go to, in theory. And then in Bay St. Louis, because the bridge may be up, they had a paramedic working over there on that truck, but it was just a straight up paramedic and truck.
Yeah.
So it was a little different comeuppance for us when we started as to what you've dealt with since you've been in it.
Sound like it's a whole lot better.
Well, I don't know if it's better. It's different. You have. I don't know if the standards have changed for firemen. Grayson, my son, and I had this conversation. Cody, you might be able to. Right, that thunder ain't getting you, bro. Hush, I'm trying to have a conversation. So I'm gonna give you one side of it. To be a paramedic back in Rob and I, when we were being paramedics, you had to go through a gauntlet, and it was the most shit in your pants, throw up in your mouth and swallow, get through it practical exam that you could ever imagine.
Mega code.
And mega code and trauma assessment and this and that. And then firemen, you know, today you got ground fault, arc faults, you got GFCI, you got non-combustible materials, you got plastic floors that don't burn, you got sofa cushions that have fire retardant in them.
Electric vehicles.
That some bitch burns.
You got building codes that say you got to have a freaking door with no window in your garage. I mean, there's building codes have changed. Paramedics don't have to exhibit the same cool under stress that we had to do. I don't know if it makes them less of a paramedic. They've got more technology. Fire today, don't take it personally. If you're a fireman that gets 10 fires a year, you're a badass son of a bitch.
Yeah.
My son's been on 3 fires in 3 years.
Really?
Really? That's all?
They don't have fires, dude. The Katrina wiped every piece of shit out, and the building codes have changed. They literally do not have fires. So
they're dang near fireproof and hurricane-proof houses now down
that's
there.
the point. So paramedics today put a monitor on and say diagnose, and it says it's atrial fibrillation with artifact.
Yeah, that's not what we had.
Oh shit! No, you had to get your calipers out of your pen and paper and measure the son of a bitch and interpret it, turn it upside down, pray you got it right. And today we don't have to do. They don't have to do that anymore. They don't have to do the mega code anymore. Does it
They
make
don't.
them less paramedic? I don't think. But does it make a fireman less of a fireman because
No.
the house didn't catch on fire?
But look, they also didn't have to deal with that gel on everything on their defibrillator. They've got those pads they stick on.
Yeah.
That's cool as shit, man.
That Lucas is what's cool. I love watching that thing.
Dude, look, I got to tell you, I went through a refresher class thinking, I'm going to go back and challenge the registry because I can challenge the registry and get. So I said, well, let me go in this refresher class and see about challenging it for the basic, you know. So I'll be an EMT basic when we're doing prescribed fire out there at work. I'll be the medic for the team. So I'm going through this damn refresher class, and man, that instructor kind of called us out. She goes, she said, raise your hand if you ever wrote a paper report before. And I raised my hand. And then everybody else was looking at me. I said,
You're the only one.
I said, raise your hand if you've only written patient reports. And that was me. Raise your hand if you ever had to fill the dot out on the state form when it was brand new.
Yeah, the bullet point Sharpie though.
You were taking a
bullet point.
Yeah, but it was like you were taking the ACT or something. Oh man.
Have a fire report. There's a state report, Cody, that you got to submit when you go on a fire.
Well, you know, when we get done, we fill out our report and then they enter it into, I think it's called FireBridge.
Yeah, FireBridge. That's a database. Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
But who does it? Chief, the battalion chief, the count? Who does that?
In Forest County, the board of supervisors, they voted. So we actually have, I want to say it's 5 to 6 paid guys that are actually in the county every day. They swap stations, which I think they were trying to get it to where we had a paid guy at every station.
Right.
And we have a battalion chief that kind of manages them, and then the fire coordinator that's over him. And so the paid guys have entered them in for us during the day, you know, to, I guess, kind of cut down. It was it was started to help the volunteers, so we didn't have to spend so much time at the fire station doing all that kind of stuff. So we've got a good paid guy, Adam, that works with us, and he fills out a lot of that stuff and takes care of a lot of our paperwork, and been really blessed. I mean, Forest County has come a long way. Our supervisors, when we got this new board in, I think we got 3 new supervisors. They are in the firefighting business. We have got new trucks. They everybody in the whole county, we all have the same air packs now. I mean, they have really put some money into Forest County as far as, you know, the firefighting.
Y'all got a fire chief?
Yes, each department, each volunteer department has their own fire chief, assistant chief.
So is there a county chief?
No, we have a fire coordinator, and I guess he's
same thing.
I don't know if he's over the chiefs, but you know, he in the chiefs meetings, he's there at the chiefs meetings with them, and then we have the battalion chief, which actually right now, the fire coordinator and the battalion chief guy, it's the same person. Bo Murphy, he's a retired battalion chief from Hattiesburg. He was with Hattiesburg Fire for I'd say like 30 years, I think.
I bet Bud
like Bud. Yep, I bet Bud worked with him, Mike.
Yeah,
had to.
I mean, everybody at Hattiesburg knows Bo Murphy. I mean, he was, you know, a really great battalion chief. Everybody, you know, respected him, loved him, and you know, he's done a lot for our department. You know, he's brought our department a long way as far as our equipment and trucks and
So are y'all
You know,
using Scott Air Packs? Is that what everybody's using?
no,
the same?
we're MSAs now, the new MSA packs.
Okay.
I think MSA owns the market, Rob.
So let me ask you this: is it the new ones that have the real small, lighter weight
Yep.
bottles?
Yeah, the 4500s. Yep.
Okay. That's
They
And I
that's
mean
lockdown.
that's what I'm saying. The county, because there was a few stations like I think Dixie and North Forest, they had already bought the packs, but I mean those packs are what 10, 12 grand a piece. So every station couldn't afford them, and whenever the supervisors, Chip Brown, he works for emergency management. He was the fire coordinator, and they asked him what we needed, and he told them, we need air packs. These people we need trucks, and they got on board, and every department in Forest County has the same exact bottle. So I mean, everybody, we've got our own masks. Our masks, hook up to everybody else's bottles, and I mean they're just so nice. They got the built-in microphone. You don't have to scream. You can just talk into your mask, and you got the microphone that microphones out.
When you're trying to
Yep.
talk like I can
I mean it is night and day. It's crazy. What they
What's
have
the
come
link
up
to
with.
the mobile? How do you get from the mask to the radio itself? Is there a Bluetooth or how does that work?
It's something in the mask. I don't know if it's connected. We actually haven't had a house fire since we've got these new packs. We
I rest
played
my
with them
case.
in the fire hall, but I mean, you just talk like this, talking into the mask, and there's a microphone on your pack, and it just amplifies everything that you say.
That's crazy.
Huh.
Hmm.
well.
But
Hmm.
they bought I think 2 or 3 new fire trucks. And I mean, you look at, you used to could get a fire truck for, $150,000, $200,000. I mean,
Not
everything.
anymore.
Yeah.
750 and up.
Yep. No, I live about a mile from the station. So
First
between me
gone.
and another guy lives about a mile and a quarter. We usually get the truck, and I mean, we've got 2 trucks and a rescue truck. So, a house fire, we try to roll everything. But, and that's one thing if people don't understand, like for your state rating bureau, you have to have so many people show up to a house fire.
Yeah.
You have to have so many hours of continuous training, and, your apparatuses have to be less than 10 years old. You have to have new PPE. And it's just crazy, the money. And luckily we have a $5 fire protection fee that's on our water bill. It's volunteer. Some people don't pay it, but a lot of people go ahead and do. So that gives us the funds available to be able to do that kind of stuff. And it's crazy because whenever we're actually at a fire rating of 6 now. When we were at a 10, I mean, people's homeowners insurance was $1,800 more a year. So I mean, all this stuff plays into your fire rating, and people don't understand that $5 a month helps get new equipment, helps training, which
drops
lowers
their-
your
A year.
Yep.
No, I get it, man. I tell you, it's weird. You said the 10-year-old age limit. That had to have been established from someone in the fire apparatus manufacturing world.
Yep.
Talking to an insurance company, because you look at it, until they affected that law, fire trucks probably had the least miles of any emergency vehicle on the face.
Yep.
One. Number 2, you got a couple pump seals and an impeller. That you ain't getting nothing new.
Yep.
Nope.
I don't need electronic valves. Give me an old freaking screw valve. It don't break.
Yep.
Have
Something just going.
There is a guy that is on YouTube. He goes by Angry Cops,
Man,
and he's out of Buffalo, New York, and he's he's a drill sergeant in the Army Reserve, and two, he's a cop in Buffalo, New York, works Special Victims Unit. And one of the things that he has done is he bought used fire trucks, because if they're changing them out, he's getting these things for a song. He's getting them at an auction.
yeah.
He's repainted them up. He's calling them MRVs, morale recreational vehicles, and he has disco lights in these, and all the cabinets is filled with different liquors and everything. And what he does is he picks up veterans and first responders that are off duty that want to go to the ball game. He swings by, picks them all up in the MRV, and takes them to tailgate to the ball game in that thing.
Wow.
I want to buy me an old Tiller 100-foot ladder just for shits and giggles.
You know what? I let me tell you what. For the longest time, I was looking at my old unit in Hattiesburg at Mako, or I think that's the name of it. It was a body shop, and AmServ 107 sat in that parking lot for like a year, and I was like, dude, I need to go buy that unit. That was my unit. That was West Biloxi.
South side of Hattiesburg.
Yeah, by the
Right
Cloverleaf.
there on 49. Yeah.
I do remember that for some reason. I do remember that.
AmServ 107 was out there, and I said, man, I worked a many a patient in that unit right there. I wanted to go get the damn thing. I just didn't have a place to put it.
You talk about fire trucks and the cost. I remember when Ferrara opened up over there in Covington or wherever it is. Man, they were pieces of crap. Dude, they're 2 years out. I mean, it's just they have ground. That Due South place up there in Covington. I don't know what they're building, but they building something nonstop. Right there on 49, just north of Hattiesburg. They building something. I mean, I don't know, man, but I tell you, I guarantee that 10-year rule had to have been implemented by somebody in the insurance industry who's friends with somebody in the manufacturing business.
Well, I believe on the custom trucks, they get 15 years out of them, which you can re-up. I think you can have it put through I think it's like an 8-hour pump test or something like that.
Yeah.
And have the truck recertified.
Like spend $1 million and waiting 2 years.
Yeah. Well, they one of the new trucks they got, I think it's in McLaurin. You get out of the truck, you put it in pump, you grab the hose, and you go to the fire, and everything is right on the nozzle. You control your.
I saw that on a video the other day. It's on there.
You can control your pump pressure from the nozzle.
Yep, it's all on the nozzle now.
It goes through the hose. It's a connected low voltage connection goes through the hose back to the pump, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right?
It's like there's a big like LCD screen right there before the nozzle, and
that's just more shit to tear up.
Me personally, I don't know if I would like it, but you get out of the truck, you put it in pump, you grab the hose, you run to the house, and you dial it up, dial it down, and one man little army there.
Well, I can see doing that for a volunteer company because, as volunteers, a lot of folks are responding straight to the scene and they're coming along. Yeah. The one guy, if he's at the station, that's your full-time employee at the station, he can jump in there and start running it and doing it. But, you wouldn't make an entry into a structure like that. You'd just be doing surround and drown.
Yeah. That's what scares me is you get those people that want to run in and forget their training, of having somebody there with you, 2 in, 2 out.
Or 3 in if you can.
Yeah.
A nozzleman, a hoseman, and somebody there directing.
Your Hanes underwear on the back end. Man, I remember we were talking about firemen. I still kick myself in the ass every day. I should have done it. I wish I would have done it, but I didn't do it. So I just get pissed off now. But we used to stand by at house fires. People used to donate their house to
Yep.
the
Yeah.
city.
Control burns.
Yeah, and Chapman may have been on this. I can't remember who the battalion chief was, but it may have been him or Pat or Stan or somebody. But anyway, they got a big old drum of chlorine tablet on the front porch, and they got a thing of brake fluid.
And they mix the two to get it going.
We just pour a little bit of brake fluid on that chlorine and haul ass.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, that some bitch is cooking.
Wow.
And that's how they started their controlled burns. And the beauty of it was once the fire got going, they could shoot it with water, and then they could relight it again for another attack.
Yep.
But it was the brake fluid for transmission one dumped on.
It was brake fluid.
And it was
DOT number 3.
what it was, I just know that shit would catch on fire and it would burn like phosphorus. And they hit it with water and they'd put it right out.
Do the same thing. Yeah, I'm not going into that, but yeah, that works. I don't want us to become the anarchist cookbook on here.
Anarchist cookbook. That's just a memory I have of watching my brother firefighters go into a burning building to learn how to not go into a burning building.
There you go.
And what is that, magnesium under the hood of cars?
Yes.
And you hit that, and I had to hit it probably 4 times of it exploding on me before I finally figured out in my mind, stop doing that.
Don't do that to a Volkswagen.
Don't you phone that?
Yes. AFFF, which they don't use anymore because of the PFAS in it.
Causes cancer.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's got
There's a whole movie. It does, and it's a forever chemical. It doesn't go away. I'm telling you, it's a pain in the butt. If you've had any, the testing that you have to do to make sure it doesn't get in the water source is unreal.
I mean, when we had to do the freaking SWAT training and they freaking sprayed us with pepper spray in our eyes.
Yeah. Well, when I went to Texas A&M's fire school, they've got a awesome industrial firefighting school.
Yeah, they do.
And we were using AFFF, and we were we were using everything, and hell, we were laughing our butts off hitting people with foam, and they come out looking like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
Yep.
We didn't realize it had chemicals in there that were that bad for you. We just thought it was soap, you know. So
It's a pH neutral, non-corrosive something or something. I was reading on it not too long ago, but there's something in it that makes it non-corrosive, and I don't remember what that was.
Well, the deal is it is a carbon chain that's been modified chemically, and it originally started in World War II. They were putting it on as a flame retardant to put on armored vehicles for the military.
Oh.
And after World War II, they said, well, we've got all this stuff. We need to do something with it. And they came up with, hey, we can put this stuff on a pan and eggs slide right off of it. That's how you ended up with Teflon. And hey, if we don't want rain getting in the tent, we can spray it with this stuff, Scotch Guard, and that's what's making it waterproof. So if it makes it fire retardant or waterproof, or it foams up like crazy, make sure it's not PFAS or PFOA.
I can remember spraying foul weather gear, rain gear, back when I was young. Where I got my damn picture from, that you say that. Spraying it, had a little spray can of Teflon spray. And you would spray your backs of your rain jackets so they wouldn't leak no more.
Oh.
That's right.
Huh.
Yep.
Hey boys, I don't mean to cut this party loose tonight.
Yep, we started late.
I'm sorry.
And no, that's not a problem. Some of us needed churching up. I hope you prayed for me.
Man, we've got a fine revival going on.
When does it end?
Tomorrow night.
Well, good luck with it, brother. Appreciate you cutting out of there. I hope you're not in too much trouble.
Oh, no.
I know you ain't stupid enough to join this podcast from the revival, so that's pretty smart.
All right, folks. With that, I think we're going to call this one a night. We're going to get 10-10. I appreciate y'all sticking around this long. If you got any ideas of something you'd like hearing us talk about, you can email us at Mike's favorite email. It's going to be right down here in the bottom. And that's going to be
Email.
gettin108@gmail.com. So you can email us there, and we will be glad to broach any subjects. Or if you've got any stories, you don't want to come on the podcast, but you've got some stories, send them to us. We'll print them up, and we'll read them, and we'll tell the story here. We'll change the names to protect the innocent, completely.
Mike would be awesome at telling that.
Oh, yeah, he would. He would. He'd be great at it. And look, if y'all have made it this far, please consider giving this thing a like and subscribe to us. We try to put one of these things out every Friday. So hopefully we'll see you here for the next one. Y'all take care and come back again.
Peace out, gang.
Bye-bye.